Hey model fans, welcome back to the channel, welcome back to another video, or if you guys are new here, welcome to the channel, welcome to Ducky's Model Cars. My name is Kenny, your host and fellow collector, and I know it's been a long time since I made a video, really no excuses, just haven't done it. Have been a little bit busy, but when I haven't been, just haven't bothered to make one, which isn't fair to you guys when I said I was going to try to make more videos. So if you guys know from past videos or you follow me on my Instagram, you'll know that there's always something happening with the collection. Over the last couple months since I've made a video, there's been a few new arrivals. Some things have left. There's some things that are on their way in that'll be here really, really soon. But for today, I wanted to jump back into another little review and kind of go over one of my newer models, as it's one of the newer releases from this brand as well, which you can currently go out and buy. So I'll talk to you about that. There will be another update video in the future for the collection to show you what's come in, what's going, and what else may be, going or coming. But let me not ramble on too much longer. Let's jump straight into today's review. All right, everyone. And for today, I'm going to be talking about my new-ish, I've had it for about a month, Autoart Chevrolet Corvette C8. So as you can see here, this one, mine is finished in rapid blue with the silver wheels, with the black calipers, and kind of the matching two-tone interior. So we have the rapid blue accents with all the other black bit as well, and then some silver mixed in there for some of the components for the speaker of the door. We'll get to the interior in a second. Overall, absolutely love the model. The C8, the latest generation of Corvette, I've always loved the Corvette. The C8 is probably, in my opinion, maybe the coolest generation, because it's finally realizing the original Corvette creator's dream of having the car be a mid-engined supercar. Of course, every model up until now has always been front-engined. Still has a nice big V8 in the back there. And this is the base model that Autoart makes, so just the kind of base Corvette C8 Stingray model. I'm sure in the future we'll see the Z06 and the ZR1 models. But anyways, let's go dive into a few more of the finer details. Starting here on the side, we can see it has the lines are all nicely there. You can see kind of the arrow channels and cutouts that are in the door. Of course, it has a little scoop back here which feeds air into the back, I think, to help cool the rear brakes, and I think does feed some air into the engine. Of course, they don't open, but we have little details like the gas cap here. Of course, the shut lines on the door are all fairly nice. If I kind of open it and close it there, we can see there's no overly huge gaps at all. Everything lines up nicely. The wheels are presented nicely. They're kind of the funky multi-spoke design. Now, I know wheels are always kind of a personal hit or miss thing. I think I might have preferred black wheels on this. I previously owned the Maisto version of the C8, and it had black wheels, and I just thought they looked a little bit better, but again, personal preference. I do like this wheel design, and I think the silver does kind of work with the blue, but again, personal preference there would have been black. But we can see the wheels have many good details. So we, of course, have the Corvette logo in the center caps. We can clearly see all 5 lug nuts. A little bit hard to see on camera here, but there is the actual Corvette writing on the brake calipers themselves. And I might be able to throw up a picture, but if you look at the really fine details in the wheels, you can maybe just make out that it does actually say Michelin. So the tires are represented, and these are running Michelin Pilot Sport S tires on here. So again, might be a little hard to see on camera there, but you can hopefully just make out at the top right here the Michelin logo and all the other tire details. So very well done from that standpoint. And when you look at the model, it's all presented very clearly and cleanly done. If we move to the front of the model, I apologize for some of the glare from the lights above, but this is the best lighting that I have. The headlights are finished very well. They're quite a simple design. If you've ever seen one in real life, one of these cars, there is a bit more detail in the headlights than Autoart has here, but I think for the model, they are executed very nicely. We can see kind of the integrated amber turn signal there. We have obviously our DRLs at the front, and then obviously your main lights, which would turn on there. If we move to the very front of the model, You can see the front is executed well. There's really no mesh or openings right in the middle. That's kind of, I think, where like your radar and like your cruise control systems are all set up in there. There is some venting on the sides of the car. Now, unfortunately, on this model, they aren't actually open, so they are kind of blocked off. So it is just, I guess, it is just kind of more of the fake mesh. So it would have been nice if they had opened it up or even put some actual mesh in there to show that, you know, there's actual airflow through like on the real car. But, I mean, it is closed off, so I take off a couple points. But, I mean, for execution, it does look the part. So I guess we can kind of go back and forth on whether it's good or not. It does kind of look good, even if it's not fully functional. We get some more light on there to see. So, yeah, that's one thing to keep a note. Those mesh openings aren't actually open. But when you step back and look at it just as a model, as what it is, I do think they are executed fairly well. If you move up again a little bit, again, the shut lines on the hood, or I guess on the front, they could maybe be a little bit better. As you can see here, I have to push it down. It doesn't sit 100% flush. So for me, that's not really a big deal because obviously the model just kind of sits there on display. But I guess one thing to note, I don't know if all of them are like this or maybe I just got one that's, you know, doesn't want to shut completely. But anyways, being an Autoart model, we can go ahead and open it up and we can see the front in there as per usual with the Autoarts. It has some nice felt detailing in there, which you can kind of feel in here. Then we can see, you know, we have things, I think, our washer fluid and I'm not sure what else, other fluids you put up in the front there as well. So pretty good detail on the front. And then if we just move to the rear of the car real quick, we can take a look at the tail lights, which I think are executed very nicely on this. The red color really comes through nicely, of course, because Autoart, as I mentioned in all my videos, if you ever, the license plate, if you ever forget what model or car you own, it's always going to say around the license plate what it is. So obviously we say Corvette here. I know like the McLaren say McLaren and vice versa. Again, on the rear of the car, we have the mesh detail, which ironically on the rear is kind of open. So I'm not sure why they had some slightly more open mesh detail on the rear of the car and not on the front. I have no idea. But yeah, it would have been nice if they had had this more open detail on the front. Hopefully you can kind of see there, I'm just putting the tip of the key in and it actually kind of goes in between the spaces, where on the front it just jams into hard plastic behind. So yeah, clearly Autoart can do it. So I'm not sure why they didn't do it on both ends of the car. But anyways, if we move down a little bit, we can see that the C8 still retains kind of the iconic Corvette 4 exhaust tips. Now, of course, on this base model car, it has the dual exhausts on each side. I know on the Z06 and on the ZR1, it has a more central exit exhaust. And before we open up the back here, guys, again, as I mentioned, this is the Stingray. So you have the Stingray logo right on the back of, I guess, the engine cover, trunk, whatever you want to call it. Also, we can see on this, it has one of the optional wings. So this is kind of the optional low wing you can get for the C8. With the base models, you could also opt for the one package I gave you, the bigger wing. It looks kind of cool, but I think if you're going to get a Corvette with the big wing, you're probably better off getting the Z06 or the ZR1. I think it just kind of fits in overall better, but hey, to each their own. I'm sure in the future we'll see other models from Autoart that have the big wing, perhaps, maybe. So let's go ahead and open up the back. Again, we can see a nice rear detail. We have some venting mesh on the side. For the engine cover, we have the nice glass for the engine cover, which we can see the V8 engine in there. And this little piece up here is actually the housing for the backup camera, which obviously shows on the inside. And if we go ahead, open this up, we can see the engine bay details. Now, it's a little bit hard to show on camera because in the real car, the engine is actually sat quite low in the car for better weight distribution, handling, and all that. But we can see the lovely engine cover on the top and kind of the red peeking out, which covers the valves. So the nice thing with this car in our world where engines are going smaller and EV and everything, the base model Corvette still has a naturally aspirated V8 inside of it. Basically, Corvette reworked the LS2 from an older generation, popped it in this car, and it looks and sounds amazing. We can see some other good details on the side, so like our oil filler cap and some things like that. And then what's staring us right in the face here, which is a very cool feature of both the real car and the model, is that basically all Corvettes are convertibles, whether you get the actual folding hardtop or the Targa roof, which we get with this. So just like in the real car, you can take the roof off and you can store it in the trunk of your vehicle. So I'm just going to take the roof out momentarily and just kind of show you the trunk space in there. So pretty good. Same with the real car, you actually get 2 spots for storage, of course having the rear trunk and then having the front trunk as well, obviously with the engine being now back here. And if you're wondering, these little clips that you see right here aren't unfortunately functional on this model, but in the real car, that's where you would actually clip your roof piece into, just so that it doesn't obviously rattle around while you're driving. So let's go ahead and close that back down for a second. Here's our roof piece. So I'm just going to open up the doors quickly here to show, and you'll see hopefully on camera, whoop, we would like to focus. Hopefully you can see here there's 3 little plastic bits, and they're going to correspond with 3 holes on the top of the model. So you can hopefully see one right above my finger. There's a little cutout. So basically one beside each door and kind of one in the middle. So you just want to go ahead, line up your roof piece into those little slots. Gently slide it in. You're going to feel it slide in, and then I believe there's some magnets on the front of the windshield, on the top of the windshield. So you're going to feel the roof kind of slot in. It slots in perfectly, as we can see there. So if you're having trouble with getting it, just wiggle it around a little bit, and it will drop into place for you. I guess as a note, if your roof isn't going on properly, your model may be slightly warped or out of shape. So I would see if I can maybe get that fixed. So there we go. If I close up the doors, now we can see that we've gone full coupe style. So as I mentioned, all the Corvettes, at least for the C8 generation, and even with the C7, the last generation, every Corvette is a convertible. It just depends on whether you get the actual folding top or the removable panel like this. So to take your roof back off, I would just say open up at least one of the doors, gently lift up, lift forward. And then when you want to go to store your roof piece in the back, just remember that basically the front of the roof sits up. So you put it in like so, it's going to fit in there perfectly. And then we can shut down our trunk. So while I have the door open, let's dive into the interior a little bit more. Now, hopefully the details are going to come across on camera. I know filming interiors of these is always a little bit tricky, but we can see the new kind of squared off steering wheel that was introduced with the Corvette C8. We have all the buttons executed on there nicely. Of course, we have our central screen right there, which just on the model shows your generic just Corvette logo. We have the dashboard, which shows up nicely, lots of detail on there. If you move kind of more into the center, we have here, which is where your cup holders would be. Obviously, that panel is just closed, but in the real car, obviously, give it a little push, pops up. You have 2 cup holders right there. Right there is where your driving controls are. So park, reverse, neutral, and drive. Of course, these cars all come with a dual clutch transmission, so you have the paddles mounted on the steering wheel as well for shifting. And then one of the things that I think was much talked about when this car came out is kind of this line of buttons down the center console here. And these buttons are essentially all of your climate control buttons. So if I remember correctly, I believe the kind of the top half of the buttons controls the driver's side, and the lower half of the buttons controls the passenger side. Kind of cool that with this car you still get dual zone climate control, so you know you and your passenger can both be equally comfortable. So yeah, I guess I will give points to Chevy for this, with a lot of manufacturers putting things kind of buried in touchscreen menus on, in the screen. It's nice that Chevy just kind of laid out all the buttons there, so wherever you want, you just kind of look over, push an actual button, and you're going to get to what you need very quickly. But just talking quickly about screen functions, right here, we can see is almost like a little hand rest mouse pad, and then there's a little dial underneath, and that's going to help you control all your functions on the screen. So it's going to be very hard on camera to show the dial, but if you look at these up close in person, you actually do see the little dial executed on there. Other little interior things, you can't fold them down, but we can see right here where we have, of course, our sun visors. executed nicely. I mentioned the door before, so we can see right there, again, the two tones. So you have the blue there and then the black leather for the most of the door. We have our speaker right here with all of our seat control buttons attached to it. And then basically right here, you just have all your standard window control buttons. And one thing I like the Autoart does with a lot of these models is they actually have a little cutout right here for that represents your indoor storage. So I don't know if you guys are going to want to store anything in your model car, but I guess if you have something very, very tiny that you want to store in the door pocket of your C8 model, you can go right ahead and do so. Some other quick features in here. Again, the seats, I believe, are the Corvette sport seats. So you can see those executed nicely. I love how the steering wheel color matches the body color. So we have the steering wheel, the seat belt matches the body color a little bit. So we have the nice blue seat belts with even the little clip, the seatbelt clip there executed nicely. We have our side sill. This is Corvette on it in silver. We even have our door sticker here, which will show your the weight of your car, your tire, your recommended tire pressures, and all that. But even on the door here, there's a little sticker that has a Corvette logo on it. And even to look at it, it's very hard to read, but just little details. I know they exist on the real cars, so of course they have to include it on the model as well. I'll put some more zoomed in videos so you guys can see a little bit better. But yeah, that's what the car looks like. And if I just come down here again, we can just open it up fully just so you can I can show you guys what that's going to look like. So there we go. That's our car fully open, and I think it looks very cool without the roof piece in place, how open the whole car is. And I guess let me know, let's pull it out quickly. Let me know if you guys have one of these models, or if you don't, if you prefer it with the roof off, or if you would store it with your roof piece on. I like how you have the option on this model, so if you don't want to have the coupe, obviously you can interchange the roof piece kind of as you wish. But yeah, I think for myself personally, I kind of like the idea of it being a convertible. So I'm going to store my roof piece back of the trunk there. We'll go ahead and close everything down. And as per usual, I like to show the bottom of the models. Again, because sports car, and I guess supercar, not much to see on the bottom. So of course, there is like your exhaust piping and everything under there, but it's covered with this flat panel for more aerodynamics. This little button here, I'm not sure. Well, it doesn't actually do anything. I thought it might do something, but I'm like, there's no wing or anything to raise up. So I'm not sure what the function of this is, but I'm going to assume that it's on the real Corvette. So Autoart has it here, but just know if you guys are looking at it, this isn't a button. It doesn't actually do anything, at least nothing that I've figured out yet. So I'd recommend not playing with it to not break it. But yeah, we can see a little bit of the transmission case or the gearbox sticking out from under there, which is a nice little add-on. There we go, guys. That's, I think, going to do it for this review. So, as I said, this is my Autoart C8. Again, overall, I absolutely love it. I love the color. It comes in a few other colors. So this is the Rapid Blue. It also comes in Torch Red, Sebring Orange, just, I think, regular black, and a ceramic gray. So go ahead, a bunch of different specs, bunch of different colors, like interior combinations, wheel combinations. So I'll put a link down below if you guys want to go and check it out. As always, I got my car from my friend Keith's Model Cars. So if you live in the GTA or you're looking for an awesome selection of model cars, and even if you don't, I'll put a link to Keith's website. Go check out the website, go buy something, tell him I sent you. And he can also ship out as well. So as always, want to give a shout out to my friend Keith. And I guess if I had to nitpick one little thing with this car that I think the Maisto did better, is that it had the racing stripes over the top. Now, I don't know, maybe it's kind of kiddish of me. I like racing stripes. This one doesn't have it. It's not a big turn off for me, because in terms of execution and looks, this Autoart is way, way better than the Maisto, which, let's be honest, I got from Costco for like 20 bucks. So again, this was about $200 something. So yeah, the Autoart's much better model for the money. But yeah, let me not ramble on too much longer, guys. As always, if you guys enjoyed this video, please give it a big thumbs up. Comment down below what your thoughts of this are. Do you have one? Are you going to pick one up? Did I maybe just inspire you to go pick one up? But yeah, that's gonna do it for this video. I do promise this time there are more videos coming really soon. As again, I have a bunch of stuff which has come in and stuff which is still incoming, which is gonna be really cool. So we're gonna go over all of it on video. But just like that, this video is over, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye.